Too often I see videos here on YouTube or even videos over on Instagram and TikTok about how to get hundreds of thousands of followers in just a few short months. And today in this video, I'm going to be talking about some of the caveats that come along with quick growth and some of the things that I feel people don't talk about enough when it comes to their channels or their accounts blowing up overnight. Because I have to admit, there are just as many negatives that come along with this than there are positives at times. So we're going to go through the other side of this today and talk about some of those negative things that come along with really quick growth and gaining many thousands or hundreds of thousands of followers in just a really short period of time, and why you may not want that to happen to your own account. So if you're new here, my name is Kaylee June and I'm a beauty and fashion photographer based near Sydney, Australia, but I'm also a content creator, and I started this channel a couple of years ago to talk about all things content creation, business-wise, freelancing, basically anything that comes under that umbrella, because I love to talk about it all. Now, when we talk about really quick growth, unfortunately, this is something that often can't be controlled. It is something that can happen to people randomly, or some people might find a topic that they want to talk about that they know is trending at any given time, and then their video or content just blows up over that. There's so many different ways that you can become viral online these days, and so much content that can really just blow up overnight. So sadly, we don't really have much control over this though, whether we want our content to go viral or we don't. And that's really something that's important to recognize, is that not everyone wants those hundreds of thousands of followers overnight. And sometimes it just happens to those people, whether they want it or not. But again, we're going to be really talking about today some of the negatives that come along with really quick growth. And it's really important to keep these in mind so you don't keep telling yourself that, having hundreds of thousands of followers is the only way, that's what you need to really grow and to have a successful YouTube channel or to have a successful Instagram account or TikTok account, whatever it might be. That's not the case. And I really want to go through some of these negatives today and why you should consider them and why you should feel a little bit better if your content and your content creation is slow growing online. So the first point I'm going to make today is that followers may actually just follow on a whim and quite spontaneously. They may not actually be that invested in you or your cause, depending on what you create content-wise and what your account is all about. A lot of the time when people go viral, or when they've had one post, a singular post that goes viral, a lot of people will just follow on a whim really spontaneously and may never actually go back to that person's account. And this happens all too often where people actually find that they've got a lot of dead followers, or really followers that don't make a difference in that count. They're not part of the creators community and they don't really care about that. Maybe they're just someone that they've followed on a whim, which I have even done that as someone in the audience before of content creators. I have followed them maybe on a whim when something's gone viral, and I've never actually gone back to their account again. Or maybe I haven't looked deep enough into it at the time and I wasn't actually interested in the other content that that person was creating. So unfortunately, that's just part and parcel of social media and short attention spans these days. We quite often don't always look into the other things that content creators are making and sometimes make those decisions. So unfortunately, that's just something that does come along with viral growth, is that you may have a lot of followers that just don't really care that much about what you're doing. The second point I'm going to make is that you might actually still be testing the waters with your content. You might be in the really early stages of finding out still what you want to do with your content and how you want to create and what direction you want to head into. And then suddenly, say for example, if you have a viral post that has blown up overnight and then you've had all of these new followers, quite often those followers may expect the exact same content that has gone viral over and over and over again. And if you're not even sure that that's the content that you're wanting to post regularly, or if that's the direction you want to take, you kind of quite quickly find yourself locked into a certain type of content creation mode where you really have to be creating that same sort of content over and over again to engage those followers, which really sucks because I've had this happen before on one of my other YouTube channels. And I found that one of my videos that did really, really well actually in turn changed my audience overall. And instead of watching my other type of content, which I was primarily creating, they were more interested in this other topic that I'd done a video on that actually did well. So unfortunately, from that point onwards, getting back to doing my original content that I was doing, or the content that I wanted to do mostly, a lot of people weren't interested in that. So that actually really sucks when that happens and you feel like you're a bit backed into a corner with it. It takes a lot of work to then sort of reignite your audience and really push through with that, because it can feel quite deflating when you actually feel like you need to be posting that same kind of content all the time. I know there was a couple of people who actually mentioned this in my recent video where I talked about my daily posting routine and having a smaller community of people and having that really good engagement back in social media. And I know that there was a few people that commented saying that they'd had reels that had blown up overnight and they felt like they just wanted to go back to that smaller community again, not having so many followers who didn't necessarily care about what they were doing and really wanted them to keep posting the same kind of content over and over again when they just wanted to try something new. So that's really a big caveat, I think, that comes with viral growth and having a lot of followers in a short amount of time. So along with that, like I mentioned, it does make it really hard to change direction in future, and it makes it difficult to build consistently good engagement, because as you grow and as your follower count grows as well, your engagement tends to generally dip quite a bit. So you'll end up having a smaller percentage of engagement, because that's quite often just what happens when you have a really large amount of followers. So really trying to build that consistently good engagement with your followers, like you can do in a really small community of subscribers or followers, becomes increasingly difficult. And that's really something to keep in mind and to be thankful for when you do have a smaller community, because that engagement is a lot easier to have and to really treat others like they're your friends almost, and that you're all in this together. So that is really an important thing to remember too. It also doesn't give you the chance to build the community that you want. So again, these all kind of tie in with each other, these points, but not building the community that you want often happens if you have a lot of followers kind of overnight coming onto your account and following you, and they could be kind of anyone from any different genre. And I do find that this is actually what happens a lot when you get a shout out, or when someone that's not necessarily from your genre of content creation shouts you out. Maybe they have a much larger following, and as much as you appreciate it, as much as it's lovely of them to do it, sometimes it can actually backfire in the sense that you do end up getting a lot of followers who are not in your niche or not interested in your niche. They're just following you because the other person said that you were a great person or said to follow you. So there's kind of like that emptier feeling and that sense of it's harder to build that community and that engagement again. So like I've already mentioned, a lot of these points do tie in, and trying to build that community from the beginning is just so important. Really hold on to that if you have a smaller following, and really try to continue building on that, more so than just getting follower after follower and always aiming for that instead. And the last point that I'm going to make today is it actually gives you a false sense of security really early on when you have something go viral, or when you have a lot of followers land on your account quite quickly. It does actually give you a false sense of security, especially if you're just starting out with this stuff. And this is actually something that I've been bitten by many times before. It's become an issue financially, whereas I thought, okay, yeah, my post has done well, or my video's done well, I can now relax. I can feel like I'm a lot more secure. I'm getting heaps of subscribers. This is going to continue. It doesn't always continue. Let me just 100% put that out there. Unfortunately, everything comes to an end, and all of this viral content that blows up, yes, you may get hundreds of thousands of followers, but that will come to an end. 100%, it always does. Whether it's the money, whether it's the followers or the views, there's always going to be an end point to this stuff. And it does tend to lure you into a very false sense of security early on if you do have something go viral, because it kind of makes you think that you can relax and sit back and hope that everything else is just going to take care of itself from that point onwards, instead of posting consistently good content or consistently wanting to grow or improve your own work. So definitely be careful of that one, because unfortunately, like I mentioned, that's something that's bitten me quite a few times before. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video today, and please let me know in the comment section below if you have any pointers as to why you wouldn't want to go viral overnight. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this and hear any of your stories, if this has happened to you, and some of the negatives or positives that has come out of it. I'd love to hear all of those stories down in the comment section below, so definitely feel free to comment. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, and if you haven't subscribed to my channel already, make sure that you do, because I'll be posting a lot more content like this in future. But thank you so much for watching this video again, and I'll see you in the next one.